Hi, my name's Hayzel. I'm 13 years old, and this is my testimony. I grew up in a non-religious family and not knowing God. When I was 8, I went to Eagle Bay for the first time. It was only 2 days, but it was the first time I ever really learned about God. The next year, I went to camp again. This time, I really listened to what the lessons were about, and I slowly realized that maybe God is real and cares about me. By the last day of camp, I was on a spiritual high. When I got home, I started to talk to God daily. I wish I could say that I kept it up, but I didn't. Over time, I would get busy, and I eventually stopped talking to God. It was hard for me to stay close to God when it felt like there was nobody who understood how I was feeling. When COVID happened and everything shut down, I got even more distant. Finally, 2021 happened. And while Eagle Bay wasn't open, another camp was. It was my first year going there, and I was super nervous. But eventually, I got comfortable there, and I kept learning more about God. I learned that even when I stray away, He'll always love and care for me. Once I got back from camp, I started getting closer to God, and I started reading my Bible more. Eventually, though, I became lukewarm. Although I was still talking to God, I wasn't dedicating my life to Him. This went on for about a year or so until the summer of 2022 came around. I started hanging out with the wrong crowd and doing a bunch of stupid things. I was straying away from God once again. Soon enough, though, it was time for camp. I learned so much about myself and my relationship with God. Once I got back from camp, I started to distance myself from my friends, and I started to read the Bible a lot more. When school started, I thought that the exact same thing would happen as the years before. But luckily, God told me about this place called Youth, where you get to learn about God all year round and worship Him. The first time I went, I was super nervous, but I soon learned how much fun it was. I started to go every week. That's when God put Lily into my life. She was my first friend that was a believer, and she truly cared about me. Throughout the year, I slowly started getting closer to God. Around Christmas, my papa passed away. I was in my room, just sitting there, and I looked up to see a Bible verse that I had put on my wall a couple days before. Romans 8:18. Yet what we suffer now is nothing compared to the glory He will reveal to us later. It was a sign from God. From that day on, I studied my Bible every day. Now I still have a lot to learn about myself and God's relationship, and I still don't understand why God does some of the things He does. But I've learned to trust Him, and I know that He'll guide me on the right path. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope."